So for the role of baby Jesus, it was a tough one for me. I had Jose Altuve, Messi, and Steph Curry because they are all small people. All right. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Sports Den, the podcast. This is our Christmas special. We decided
Merry
that
Christmas!
after the time of recording, this was going to be our Christmas specials. And we had to decide what we were going to do for a Christmas special. So we tossed around a few ideas. But yes, Merry Christmas, everyone. After you will have seen this, no matter what, it will have been... Oh, wait, no, maybe not. The next time you see us, it will be after Christmas.
Yes, the next
Period.
podcast will be
So-
after Christmas.
But Christmas is always a wonderful, wonderful, great time of year. You get to know people and other little PSAs and stuff like that. We're going to Christmas, but it's a great time. You get around and be with people. But a tradition that I had growing up was going to church in Christmas plays. Actually, did you guys do Christmas plays? growing up?
I've been in many Christmas plays. I have performed in many. I have helped direct many. I have all
Like
sorts.
growing up as like a little kid, like was that something you guys did on the field or?
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I grew up as a missionary's kid, and in fact, our church had a broadcast to the entire country, and so somewhere in archived footage is probably a picture of me and then my brother. There's probably a video of archived footage of me being the angel Gabriel and singing a solo while my brother is Joseph and my little sister is a small sheep. And
Pausing that, Amber, when you watch this, your next mission, find that footage. We did grow up Christmas plays. I was a number of people, and then starting at one point started directing a lot more of them or assistant directing them. And it's always great. It's always great seeing kids that are great. My favorite kid are the ones that in practice are amazing and awesome. And oh my goodness, this 3-year-old knows all of the words, can sing pretty, and is just such a great thing. And so you're like, I'm going to count on this 3-year-old. Like, I can't believe it. I'm counting on a 3-year-old. But in all the practice, it seems to work out. And then you get up to the stage, and 3-year-old starts screaming and crying, and you're like, yeah.
So we had a perfect one at the church that I am an associate pastor at. We had our kids' Christmas play was Sunday. And we had this sweet little 4-year-old that all through every practice was just rocking along and doing great. And then all of a sudden, the moment it actually comes time to do it, this little girl just runs back and forth on stage all night. And then it comes time for her little solo. She walks up, grabs the mic where she's supposed to do, sings her solo, puts the mic back on the stand, boom, back and forth. It was so cute and very funny.
We had my pastor's daughter and then one of the other little ones discovered the microphone we had to record them or, to amplify all of them and realized they could start singing into said microphone.
Oh, no.
So that's always fun. I say that because my pastor made jokes about that this past Sunday as well. But so for those of you that have participated in this and those of you that haven't seen this, casting a Christmas play is crazy. You've got to figure out you've got way more characters than you think you have. And then if you forget a character, believe me, there's someone in church that will let you know the character you forgot and why that character is completely and utterly necessary to share the gospel and tell the story of Christmas. Why there's no way you could have forgotten that character. So actually, that's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to look at the world of sports, and from the world of sports, we are going to cast the Christmas story as traditionally told in many churches across the world. Actually, I listened to a podcast out of England earlier today, and they did this same thing. Growing up, I don't believe many of the most of the people on that podcast do not currently go to church, but they still remember the time of doing and spending time in the Christmas play. So we're going to cast the Christmas play for our Sports in the Podcast Christmas special. So what character would you like to cast first there, Jonathan?
You know what? Let's start with the big one. Who's Baby Jesus?
Baby Jesus. Okay. So for me, I'll get to your casting here in a second. Mm-hmm. So mine, and then I meant to say this before. So our casting, at least my casting, I don't know about Jonathan's, there are some that personality traits will make me want to put this person as this role. Other ones, I'm not going to lie, are completely and utterly physical traits that make me want to cast them in this role. So for the role of Baby Jesus, it was a tough one for me. I had Jose Altuve, Messi, and Steph Curry because they are all small people. And if we're casting the Baby Jesus...
Please don't call Steph Curry a small people because he's like 3 inches taller than me.
Well, okay, and he's like a foot taller than me. But when he's standing next to everyone, yes, he looks short. Or you get the impression he's small. But really, actually, the one that I went with, because of other things that break it, was going to be Messi. Because his name is kind of close to Messiah. I think it comes from the word Messiah.
I would have to fact check that, but it does make sense from a Latin perspective.
There's a lot of things that make sense, and it's probably or shares origins with the word Messiah. So I'm going with Messi as my Baby Jesus.
As someone who has been a Barcelona hater most of my life, that hurts me, and also I can see where you're coming from, and that probably hurts more.
He fits in the manger.
Probably. I was just going with beloved figure that everyone is going to love for at least a few years until he starts doing things that will make people hate him. And that is, my idea was Lamar Jackson. I'm going to pick Lamar Jackson because right now he's baby-faced and everyone loves him and it's awesome. And it is. I also see Jesus as this really countercultural figure. Jesus comes, and one of the biggest moments in Jesus's life is not miracles he did or other things, but it is a sermon he gives in the book of Matthew. It's called the Sermon on the Mount, where he basically announces his intentions are to be this kingdom that is completely upside down. He says, blessed are those that are poor in their spirit, for they'll inherit the kingdom of God. Blessed are the meek, and basically everything that you think gets you ahead in the current world, he says, in the kingdom he's coming to set up, everything is backwards. He literally says things like the last will be first, the first will be last, and it's countercultural.
That's the other one you give. He's a young player too.
Yeah, and
the Heisman
Lamar
Trophy winner.
Yeah,
is older.
Yes,
he is.
Yeah,
we didn't mention that. We haven't had a chance to mention that, but yeah.
I think that's crazy that this year's NFL MVP, which, spoiler alert, is probably, I can't imagine how it's not going to be Lamar at this point. But the Heisman Trophy winner will be older than the MVP winner in the NFL.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Also, he is older than Lamar, and then one of the other AFC quarterbacks in the Pro Bowl is only 2 months older than Jake Burrow.
Yeah.
So it's Deshaun Watson's only 2 months older than Jake Burrow. So or Joe Burrow.
Yeah, So our next character, then I guess we're gonna go the big ones. Mary. Who do you have for Mary?
I have Maya Moore, former forward for the Minnesota Lynx. She is she actually took a year off kind of to focus on herself, and also because WNBA players are just not paid a fair share of their revenue, and they can actually make more money doing other things. It's so when you can make more money doing other things, you tend to do other things. And so she took this year off of WNBA play. I think she will be back in the next season. But she took this last year off of WNBA play and actually used that time to work with some religious organizations. And so that was my pick, was Maya Moore.
Okay. All right. The one that I went with Simone Biles.
That's a good one.
I went with Simone Biles. She's this sweet little tiny thing, and in every Christmas play you cast the sweet little tiny thing as Mary. That's kind of what you do. She's got a great, fantastic smile that will look fantastic on stage. But she's awesome. She's got a fantastic, great story. Not quite a Mary level of story, obviously, but she does have such a fantastic story behind her that is just amazing and makes her that much greater. So yeah, that's who I've got as Mary.
I had another guess. Is Monet Davis.
Okay.
She was in the Little League World Series, was pretty stinking good at that. She's also currently playing basketball in as I am sorry, I'm looking for.
Is she in college? She's not in college yet, is she?
No, she just committed. She's still in high school. She is still in high school, but she's just committed to play basketball for someone, and I cannot remember who. But she was a few years ago that big lightning rod pitcher. Really awesome. I cannot remember where she.
She was a dominant pitcher. She had good stuff, moved around, fantastic.
Yeah, she had and she could pitch, flat out pitch. Her off-speed stuff was awesome too. I forget who she's committed to play for basketball, so I apologize.
So I'm guessing not UConn, because that would just be too.
UConn might not be fair at that point.
Too easy. Is UConn ever fair?
Yeah, no.
But that's neither the discussion there. So who's our next character?
Who's the next character? So let's go kind of in order. So we've had baby Jesus, we've had his mother Mary. So let's go with his earthly father Joseph.
So Joseph, this one was tough. We talked about this off air that I hadn't made a decision on that, but now this person, I guess technically, he is technically an active athlete, so it does kind of work. I'm going Tim Tebow.
Okay.
Tim Tebow, yes, I know that's, despite everything else, I think this is the first time we're actually mentioning Tebow on this pod, now that I think about it. But
I think he's got to have come up at least once.
I don't know, maybe quickly in passing, but yeah. No, I think Tebow's a great example of that, of someone who's, there's the obvious faith equivalent or faith stuff of Joseph is described as a righteous man who's does the right thing, but also understands that the right thing may not always be what appears to be the right thing.
Yes.
I think Tebow is definitely that, and he just got such a face. Like Tebow would totally rock as Joseph, and again, as I'm picturing my staging, that's who I want right there. You got Simone Biles over here, and you got Tebow right here. Amazing smiles that just light up center stage.
Yes. So essentially, you have a few different ways you can go with this. I would have gone Tim Tebow too. That was actually my first thought as well, was Tim Tebow with his. I guess he's in AA ball now.
I'm not sure which division he's in.
He was in instructional league at one point, and then he's gone up and down all the way through all the minors.
I think he may have seen time in AAA.
Yeah, I think he may have. Anyway, but so that was my obvious choice. Now, there is the church history tradition, which does not really have a bunch of textual support that Joseph is significantly older than Mary. The text would probably indicate that they're both teenagers, but there is a textual idea that Joseph is a significantly older person towards the end of his life. And so with that, I was thinking someone towards the end of their career that has also had some of that righteousness and that, with the religious stuff. So my thoughts went to two more baseball players, but one of them's name is totally escaping me. Josh Hamilton, and then Albert Pujols. So
Okay.
Those were the two that came to my mind with that. If you're going with that historical church tradition, which may not be supported by the text of the New Testament.
Another one that I thought of, and again, this is going to pain me based on other stuff I've said on other podcasts, but if you're looking for someone to play a dad, Philip Rivers.
Philip Rivers to play a dad. That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And his family, he grew up doing Christmas plays.
Oh yeah.
Because his family owns the K-Love radio station, which is famous for playing bad Christian music
and bad Christmas music.
So those are there. I guess let's go the next. So chronologically, we kind of skipped this guy, but the archangel, the angel that spoke to Joseph.
The angel that spoke to Joseph. So bringing a messenger. So bringing a message of change, and so I'm going out on a limb here.
All right.
So basically the purpose and the role of this character that comes speaking to Joseph is that what Mary told Joseph is true. And here is the way he can know it's true now, is because of this revelation. So I immediately went to a kind of idea of analytics, and I forget who the guy that they made, the A's manager that they made Moneyball about. Billy Beane was my first thought, and then of course, if you want to go in another sports direction, you can always say Daryl Morey. And now Daryl Morey also, I would go with him because he also kind of pointed us towards a social change that happened, the whole China stuff. Yeah. So there is my idea. I think Daryl Morey is my archangel. So
again, I'm still trying to make a really nice looking, really nice looking play. So I went with Drew Brees as the archangel.
Drew Brees,
because he's great at passing messages along.
Yeah.
I'm not a dad, but yes, I will still throw puns.
Very high percentage on that passing as well.
But yeah, he's that. But then he's got the smile. Yes, he's got the mark. But you know what? The archangel is supposed to be the one that's actually like throwing down at times in the Old Testament. So maybe he would have like a scar on the side of his face, like.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Rocking through, but I've got Drew Brees is who I've got rocking there. Let's see here. We don't need to talk about who's the donkey. We don't need to go there.
No, that would just be mean to saddle someone with that.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Saddle.
Yeah.
Saddle.
All
right. Let's go with, I guess, the next character we kind of get to see, I guess, is the innkeeper. So the innkeeper is one that biblically it's kind of a weird. There's a lot of different weird stuff, thoughts about the innkeeper. Traditionally, though, in all your Christmas plays, the innkeeper is kind of a bad guy. He's kind of a villain, or he's painted or portrayed as kind of the second-tier minor villain. We're going to get to the big villain a little bit later. But he's kind of the minor, lower-tier villain. But really, if you think about it, like, what was the man supposed to do? He didn't have any room. Like, he gave what he had. And I think in other things like this, he should be like a hero. He gave what he had, but that's not how he's always portrayed as the bad guy. But who do you have then, Jonathan?
Okay.
Go for it.
So I'm again going in a slightly strange direction with this. Textually, there's not a character that tells Joseph and Mary there is no room in the inn. There's not a character that says that. And in fact, there's probably some translation errors, because it makes sense if they're going to where Joseph has family and that's his familial city, that they would stay with family. And the Greek words for inn and part of a house that is for a dwelling are actually the same, and the Greek word used in that text can be used for either inn or an interior part of a house. And so it would make sense either way textually, that there wasn't room for them to stay somewhere, so they had to stay in the stable. That's all that really means. So I thought about something that maybe doesn't exist and is a boogeyman. And so my idea was the advanced scout team for the Patriots.
No, okay. You just said it's someone who's not a bad guy.
No, I'm leaning into the bad guy.
Okay.
May not exist. I'm leaning into bad guy, but may not fully exist. So I decided to choose the advanced scout team and Craft Productions. So that is my innkeeper.
You ruined my entire thing where I was going to go there. I wasn't going to go that, but my first thought was, despite him being the second tier villain, no matter what, the guy who gets the biggest boos in a Christmas production, the innkeeper, I think, gets bigger boos than the bigger, worse villain.
Yes, I would agree with that.
So I was going to pick someone who would get the biggest boos. So my first thought was going to be Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
That he was going to be my first, but now that you've gone the Patriot, I don't think I can't go the same. You know what? I'm going to steal an idea that you were talking about off air.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm stealing this because I think it really worked. The diva wide receiver, I know we were trying to go a lot more there. So someone like Odell. We went with a pass. We were thinking of some pass things. But I think like Odell, it can kind of be there. Because he wants to be seen as kind of a good guy, but you know what? At the end of the day, he still says no.
Yeah.
He still says no. I'm really not going there. And
or you could go anyone who has a moment in their game where they make the correct sports play, but it doesn't work out, so they get labeled as this choking goat or whatever.
Every kicker in the NFL this year.
Fair point.
The other thing I thought about that is because he gave him a manger, and Odell has hair that looks like a manger.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Not Odell. I'm going to go with the kicker thing because I'm going to cast a role right now that we hadn't discussed.
Okay.
I'm casting the role of the manger.
Of the manger as Odell.
As Odell.
That sounds good. I think that's a great use of his hair. I love his hair. But. Mm-hmm.
All right. So go. Yeah, you can go ahead and get the next one.
Okay. So since we talked about the little bad, let's talk about the big bad. King Herod. Who is the big bad? Who is King Herod?
King Herod. So I went literal or literally figuratively.
Go for it.
I've got LeBron.
Okay.
LeBron, King James as the big bad. Someone who refuses to take anything less or be any less or be seen as anything less. Is constantly worried about building his empire and not wanting to give anything to the next guy up and coming. That kind of goes back to a previous thing before of as soon as he went back to Cleveland, hey, there's a young rookie here. I don't want anything to do with a young rookie. There was another promising point guard.
To be fair, that kind of worked out.
It worked out for both, but there was another young point guard that was having to share space, and everything was being blamed at him, and all the goodness was given to LeBron. So he said, I'm done dealing with this, and so Kyrie wanted out.
And again, to be fair, Kyrie looks better as a second option than a first option.
But Kyrie got all the blame when things went wrong, and
yeah,
LeBron got all of the praise when things went right.
Fair. It's totally fair.
So LeBron, I've got King Herod as LeBron.
Okay.
Because I also see, again, this is somewhat looking towards the future. I see him starting to duck games when he starts playing there. He'll start to cover other guys or he'll shy away from bigger guys to make other guys look better.
Yeah.
I can see that coming in the future. So yeah, King Herod as LeBron James.
All right, I've got I went with, since this is sort of the overarching biggest baddest bad guy in the bunch. This is the as the Emperor in Star Wars is behind Darth Vader. This is the evil behind the evil of all that is wrong in the sport. Roger Goodell.
I was going to say, which commissioner are you going for?
Roger Goodell, actually, and I'm gonna be honest. Rob Manfred made a real run for the money with this stupid getting rid of the whole minor leagues thing that he's been doing. That is a big. He was gunning for this role. I will say his audition was gunning for this role, but no, it's still Roger Goodell. Goodell, it just feels like he doesn't know what he's doing, and is just draconian for no reason, and I feel like he genuinely makes his sport worse. And I never thought America would want a Bush back to do a former job they did, but people are actually clamoring for Jeb Bush to come back and be commissioner.
Interesting. I thought you were going to go Jerry Jones.
I could go Jerry Jones. But to be fair, I feel like Jerry Jones is the Darth Vader in the earlier reference, and Goodell is the Emperor behind his Darth Vader.
Yeah, I can see it being both.
So Jerry Jones is the Moff Tarkin, who actually wields the physical power, but theoretically is behind. Is lower on the totem. Yeah, that's a fair one. Yeah. There.
All right. So I guess the next going that I've got to think of a few more. We got a bunch more characters. I just got to think of exact people. But the chief angel that speaks to the shepherds. So after Jesus' birth, the angel that proclaims there. And then also while we're doing that, general angels too. So who is behind this chief angel?
Okay. I'm going to have to listen to what you've come up with, because this totally was not a thing on my radar. So okay. I'm going to have to let you go first.
And if you ever do cast one of these things, this totally happens. You forget a major character.
Yeah.
So the chief angel I have, now when I thought of this role, some listeners, viewers might think a little less of me right now, but I had to think, who is the prettiest person in sports? Most of these roles, who is the prettiest person, most beautiful people in sports? So I went with, I had to think, and I'm not, and in my defense, it took me a while to think of this person, because when I first started thinking of female sports stars, I first thought of how amazing they are at their craft. Honestly, I did. And this person, I actually thought the same thing, but then I was like, but she's also really, really pretty. So I have Alex Morgan, the soccer player for Team USA, as my chief angel, because she's just gorgeous.
It's a fair casting. I'll go with that. That seems, I can't poke holes in that at all.
And but behind her, and to prove it is not just there. You know what? I'm gonna go other people that are just genuine. Like that's where Ronaldo goes. Ronaldo is right behind her.
Yeah, Ronaldo. That I'm trying to think of people that are more.
He's just a good-looking dude. Like, I mean, you're straight up. Like, if you can't see that, you're wrong.
There's some people that have that for some reason, like really, really big model look.
Yeah.
And are also like at the top of their game in their sport. And so Ronaldo's good. If you want to talk about people who are not at the top of their game in their sport, but also do a lot of the modeling stuff, you can throw Chandler Parsons in there. It seems like that's probably all he's good for at the moment, because he's definitely not playing for the Hawks. And you could throw you could throw several people in there. I feel like I'll leave people out if I keep trying to name names.
You know, as just a genuine one, another one, Christian McCaffrey too. I'll throw Christian McCaffrey there.
Christian McCaffrey barely lost out the role of Baby Jesus. because he could also fit in small and then just electric lightning in a bottle as well, and beloved figure. And
But
if
okay, so he could fit in those the angel roles. This is also then again, if you are ever casting one of these, this is where you just this is one of those parts where you just throw people.
Yes.
You just pile people in there, and especially the little kids, because they get super excited because they get to have wings and be angels. So you just put anyone because they're all super excited right here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like in general, just picture most of all athletes in this role. Then okay, so we got that. Did you have a specific chief angel in mind, or did you think of one?
No, I can't. I think going with the, because your chief angel is usually where you put your that's usually where you put the traditionally cute best singing blonde kid, or if we're going with best singers, because that's the one that, like, here's every Christmas play always has someone who shows up that doesn't even actually act but just shows up and sings at one point. And why not go with someone who is just on The Masked Singer? Victor Oladipo had just a fantastic run on The Masked Singer. When you get voted off of a singing competition after Seal, you are good. Like, yeah, after Seal, like, and so he did so fantastic. And you know, he hasn't been able to play because of the torn ACL, so he hasn't come back from his injury yet, but sang really well. So we could throw Victor Oladipo in as our random singing person.
The other person I just thought of now is Dame Lillard.
Dame Lillard, yeah, he's got some.
Have him rap the blessing. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But next thing, so the shepherds, again, this is another position where another place where you kind of put a lot of your extra people in as shepherds. If again, we're teaching you slightly how to cast a Christmas play. But yeah, you stick a bunch of people in as shepherds, because you can put a bunch of kids there. Quick little caveat: if you're casting little kids and you need someone to watch them, have an adult or a teenager dress up as a sheep, because then you can be up there and be right there to keep track and hold everything.
That's smart.
Not that I've done that or anything.
So for me, shepherds fill a special role in the biblical narrative of people that are supposed to be your everyman, hardworking person, and we see throughout the Old and New Testament biblical narratives that shepherds are a repeated motif of what people should aspire to be like. We see Moses, Abraham, David, and then of course the shepherds are the first ones to herald the coming of the Messiah in the New Testament. So we see this as a motif of people that's who the normal person should seek to design their life after. And so with that being said, I am picking my favorite workhorse, just do it all people that do the dirty work in sports for that. Your Patrick Beverleys, your Andre Drummonds, your in football Taysom Hill, your Derwin James, just does everything, does whatever needs to be done because it's just the right thing to do. Now, sometimes those players may border on the dirty, with my Patrick Beverley.
Shepherds were dirty.
Yeah, dealt with a bunch of poop. So, just saying that can fit.
So again, going on with kind of agreeing with you entirely, but also going on, this is the role where you put every boy that refuses to be a angel.
Every boy that refuses to be an angel. Yes.
Yeah. This is you cast that role. So, but with that, which means you're going to have a bunch of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually, you might call this a cop out, but I'm just going with it. Every single offensive lineman, all of them.
I love it.
They're all right there. They all are just doing that dirty thing. They never get any credit. But
never get any love.
The entire team and everything revolves around them, which also, historical critically, the entire economy of the nation of Israel and Judah and all that stuff, they were a shepherding people. So pretty much the entire economy revolved around shepherds, and they never got any credit.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yep.
Exceptional one guy, but he really only got credit when he became king.
Yeah, and Zach Martin, and then like the entire offensive linemen in Minnesota have the beards that are just born to play that role. So yeah,
So those guys, those are my sheep, or those are my wise men. You know, and some of them are sheep too.
Your shepherds. Yeah.
Shepherds. Wow, I'm already moving on to wise men.
Let's jump to the wise men. All right. What is your thought process on wise men?
So I've got one name right now, and I'm still bouncing a few others. The first one I have for wise men or magi, I'm going with Brad Stevens, because despite not win, I still think he is one of the smartest coaches in all of sports. What he's done with teams that. So the biggest thing I look at, and everyone said like, he's one. Now, granted, he's done it in the East, where the East has not been great, but even then, like, because people say like, man, he just can't win the big one. Again, look at who he has, who on his teams have actually truly been superstars. He's had some very good players.
And the thing is, he's got like 11 guys. He's got like 11 guys on his team that are borderline stars.
They're all very, very good. They could make it. They'll make an all-star game because they play in the East, and the East is weak. But they're not. He doesn't have these amazing. No, but he still finds ways of getting them top, and he finds ways of getting these guys in big position. I mean, we had a guy that's less than 6. I still say he was less than 6 feet tall. Isaiah Thomas. A less than 6 foot guy was nearly the MVP of the league because he played for Brad Stevens.
Well, it's also the reason he's not any good now, because he tried to play through an injury for Brad Stevens. So,
but I'm just saying, Stevens is a smart dude. So I'll put Stevens there. Yeah. I'll throw. He's changing a little bit, or he could be going away. But I got to put Pop there, despite everything else. You got to put Pop in that position.
Yeah.
Keep going. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you've got either. This is the point where you think of really smart coaches. Your Brad Stevens, your Greg Popovich, your John Harbaugh, your your people that
Tony Romo.
Oh, Tony Romo. Tony Romo is so everyone talks about how great, Michael Jordan was at his craft of being an NBA player and scoring the basketball. Everyone talks about how great Tom Brady is and how much better of a quarterback he is than everyone around him. Everyone will talk about how much better of a college basketball coach John Wooden was. There has never been a more intelligent play calling person in a booth than Tony Romo. Yeah. He's just leaps and bounds smarter than everyone. And it's just like, it's almost mind numbing how he calls stuff before it happens. It's so cool. So Tony Romo's a great one. You could go that route, but I kind of get stuck on the whole in the Gospel of Matthew. It says they're wise men from the East, and so I was thinking highly educated, wise people from the East. So I was thinking East Coast educated people. Generally, they're shown with beards and they bring good gifts. So I am currently thinking Ryan Fitzmagic is Harvard educated, comes from the East, and I need a Christmas miracle of him to knock off the New England Patriots. It would just make my life if he could get a win against the New England Patriots. I would be so happy. Another person, highly educated, Ivy League education out of the East, actually much further east because now he plays in China, Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin, super smart dude, comes out of the East. I'm trying to think of other Ivy League educated guys. You have to reach way, way, way back to get some of the.
Marcellus Wiley went to Cornell.
Yeah, that's a good one. Of course, he plays in the AFC South, though, doesn't he?
Well, no, he's not. Well, no, he doesn't play. He doesn't play anymore. I'm talking the.
Yeah.
Or Columbia, sorry, not Cornell. If you're listening, Marcellus, I'm sorry, Columbia.
Okay. Let's see. Hey, Real smart. Hey, well, if we want to go Wiseman in the West, Richard Sherman played for Stanford. Now plays. That's basically Ivy League West Coast. And then of course Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck has his photographic memory, and he has a great beard that would go with it too. So that.
And also for the record, again, if you're casting one of these, do not get set up on the whole story of three Wisemen. There was never said for three Wisemen. You can actually do more. They just said they were just mentioned three gifts. And actually, if you really think about it, these are really rich dudes that are traveling a long way. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
They're at least bringing helpers. So there's a lot of people that you can bring and cast in this situation.
All you know for certain is there's more than two.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So go nuts with how many you bring.
Yes. Those. I'm trying to think. I'm looking for another of. You know, I'm gonna throw Manning here too. I'm gonna throw Peyton here.
Yeah. Omaha.
Of seeing everything, I'm gonna give Peyton.
Yep. That fits because they brought gold incense in Omaha. So
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the other characters that are typically there, I'm gonna go on this. I've only got two more of these things left, unless there's one that you've got. In every Christmas play, there's always the side characters. So you never can just actually like tell the Christmas story. You have to have a side story of people that need to know this. And I know typically these are like the best actors because they actually have not singing, but they've actually got like lines,
acting roles in it, yeah,
and not like read scripture. They've actually got lines. But I'm gonna go with kind of good talkers. That's kind of my thought. Do you have any that jump out for you?
Good talkers?
Either good talkers, but people that you just, or otherwise people that you have to have on stage in a prominent role.
Okay, on stage in a prominent role. So are you talking like your sideline reporters like Aaron Andrews and David Aldridge, or
something like that?
Something like that. That would be a good one. Or they're your super entertaining people. Your people that just entertain.
Yeah.
I honestly think Sekou Smith needs to be fired from his job because I actually heard him try to interview Nikola Jokic and made it boring. If you can make Nikola Jokic boring, you are so bad at your job, you need to be fired immediately. Because that man is an entertaining man and is hilarious. And there's people that are just so stinking entertaining. And sometimes it's like people that aren't even that good. As a Rockets fan, I remember Aaron Brooks was not very good at all. But my goodness, was he entertaining and fun to watch. There is the butt of all efficiency jokes, Monte Ellis. Was one of the least efficient players of all time. But my goodness, this dude was just the gift that kept on giving in terms of self-confidence to like lack of talent ratio. He was awesome. Antonio Brown is very entertaining, provides all the content. And so that's something as well.
I would have cast him as a sheep, but and then kept the microphone as far away from him as possible.
For those of you who've never cast a play, you cast people as sheep when you don't want them to even think about having lines.
So, I'm also looking at it as the place of who are some really good people we haven't mentioned yet who you have to get on stage.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of that. So I'm going to put Brady here. Brady in one of these roles. Brady can play the dad. Mm-hmm. The dad of the family that's having to tell. So he's up. He'll be there. Joe Madden.
Joe Madden, that's a good one.
You gotta have him. You gotta have him out there. He's so much of a personality. You can't not have him there.
Yeah. What about there's that Deacon's kid that pays all the tithes that you've got to always put his kids in it. So like, I'm thinking like your Dak Prescott's, that one guy that's that one guy from the Knicks that is obligatorily has to be involved in All-Star Weekend because it's the Knicks.
Yeah.
Your guy from the Yankees that even though when the Yankees aren't that good, still has to be involved.
You missed a Wiseman. Now that I think about it,
Oh,
for your thing, you missed a Wiseman. Now that you think about it,
who?
Giannis.
Oh, Giannis. Yeah, Giannis is from the East.
Yeah, Greece is East.
Yeah, Greece is East. Of course, he didn't go to college, so didn't totally fit. But Giannis could be baby Jesus because he is becoming like universally beloved by NBA fans, and it's like whenever anyone tries to say something bad about them, they treat that almost like how Star Wars fans treat Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian. Like, stop it right now. So yeah, Giannis is one of the most entertaining things that has happened to sports. Period.
See, but because I either Giannis is there or I've got Giannis is one of our main side characters.
Yeah,
definitely got Giannis there. What's her name? Really good talker, WNBA. I cannot remember her name. She always is just fun.
There's a lot.
I'm so frustrated right now. I'm forgetting her name.
There's a lot of really good WNBA personalities that are very fun. If you've ever watched, oh yeah, she's awesome. She is awesome.
Yeah.
And just a really fun personality. There's all sorts of people that could fit there that we haven't mentioned that are great. And it feels weird we haven't mentioned people like we haven't mentioned Aaron Judge's, people like that are just, they're big stars. Bryce Harper's, your Mike Trout's, your big stars that are big personalities that should be involved. Although Bryce Harper, there's the stereotype that the innkeeper just wants a whole bunch of money. So maybe Bryce Harper could be an innkeeper.
He's the understudy innkeeper for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that could work with that.
Honestly, and you know what? I know who Trout is too. Trout's the kid you cast with a solo who freezes when it's time.
Ooh, that's good.
Because he does not like to talk publicly.
That's good.
So we're going to go ahead and get this right. We got one final character.
Okay.
Santa Claus. I have a Santa Claus, and I have reasons for Santa Claus, but you're going to want to end the podcast after I tell you who my Santa Claus is and my reasons. So you go ahead and go first.
Okay. So Santa Claus, big bushy beard, full of magic, makes lists, very analytic driven, checks it twice, all of that, able to do things in ways that kind of frustrate people that are like, you know what, that shouldn't be possible for Santa Claus to get to that many houses every week. So with that, beard kind of makes people frustrated, makes lists, checks them twice. I am going with James Harden. Edward Harden Jr.
That's who I was going to go for as well, but my main reason, because he travels a lot.
You know what? We can argue that. I do think
Santa Claus travels a lot. Harden travels a lot. I don't know about you. I've never seen Santa Claus and James Harden anywhere at the same time either.
Yeah. We can argue about the traveling thing because I actually think that says more about NBA officiating than it does James Harden. Because if he did travel a lot, they should blow the whistle. Like that's me. That's how I am.
Oh yeah, they absolutely should, but they don't. But he still travels a lot.
Yep. But the thing is, it's
he
not
carries
like other people,
a lot,
Yeah. It's not like other people don't get away with it too. It's the frustrating thing is just it's the same thing as kind of the Patriots. Like I don't totally blame New England for this whole filming thing because they've already got away with it before with no repercussions. Why wouldn't they do it again?
Another person for Santa Claus, if your brother was here, I think, especially after my Harden statement just now, he would absolutely pick Jokic.
Jokic is a
jolly
big man. Yeah, jolly, round. That's a good one.
Charles Barkley, Shaq.
Yeah. You know what? As we're talking about people, I cannot believe we went this whole thing and did not pick. And I can't believe it took you reminded me of my brother for this. How did we not talk about Luka Doncic? Luka Luka Doncic is like the darling child.
He's an angel in the back that smiles. He's the Deacon's kid who smiles as an angel.
Yeah. All right.
And then rolls his ankle.
Probably. That is. Oh no! You know what? He's the kid who was given the starring role, and then he gets laryngitis, and the understudy comes in and knocks it out of the park.
All right.
That's what Luka Doncic is. I think that's a great place to end it.
Yes.
Make one of our regular podcast guys real mad. All right. So with that, guys, like us, share, subscribe, give us a 5-star review on iTunes, all of that stuff. Follow us on Facebook, and
put a comment. If you've got another casting decision, if we missed a character that's always in your Christmas plays growing up or whatever, and you've got someone there, give us a character and cast it. Or if you don't like our casting choices, cast someone else in our roles, someone we missed.
Yeah. With that, everyone have a Merry Christmas.